Today's cast is Ash, played by Emmy Lowe, Misty, played by Kailey Reyes, Brock, played by Joel Guttman, Jesse, played by Frongi, James, played by Mario Bueno, Meowth, played by Taylor Starnes, Mewtwo, played by Peter English, Nurse Joy / the Lady, played by Mary Rivette, Dr. Fuji, Pirate Raymond, Officer Jenny, Trainer Neesha, Trainer Fergus, and Clone Meowth, all played by Cam Griffin. Giovanni, the Harbor Master Miranda, Trainer Corey, and Computer by Mason Catharini. And your narrator today, Hayes Converse. Welcome to Mewtwo Strikes Back. Life, the great miracle, and the great mystery. Since the beginning, Pokemon and humans alike have searched for its meaning.
What am I?
Many strange and wondrous legends evolved from the series.
Where am I?
But none is stranger than this tale of the most powerful Pokemon of all.
I am ready to be.
Bubbles, followed by glowing globs of plasma, are floating through deep darkness. A large, inhuman eye opens in the sea of black. Something has awakened, and it sees a hazy view of figures staring at it through glass.
Where am I? This is not the same. Was everything before just a dream? Why?
Darkness swallows the eye again. It is contained in a tank, within which floats the immobile form of Mewtwo. Cables are attached to various parts of its body. While Mewtwo remains perfectly still, the laboratory around it suddenly blares with alarms.
What?
Their brainwaves, it's surging.
Let me see. Oh, she's right. Let's run another scan.
Its mind is racing.
Unbidden, a vision is within the scientists' minds. Waves rippling out from a mountain range. Inside the tank, Mewtwo's eyes begin to open.
Those voices.
Another vision ripples over water.
I hope we don't lose this one.
They're outside.
Small, pink Pokemon swimming through a lake.
Oh, we can't lose this one.
Where I must be.
Mewtwo's eyes widen and glow blue. The glass tank surrounding it cracks and shatters. Mewtwo sits in the space where it was previously confined, fluid in which it was suspended draining rapidly into the surrounding lab.
Radio Giovanni's helicopter. Tell him what's happened.
Quiet! Let us hear its psychic powers.
The lead scientist, Dr. Fuji, and his team look on with anticipation.
Psychic powers?
For years, we struggled to successfully clone a Pokemon to prove our theories, but you're the first specimen to survive.
Dr. Fuji points to a framed stone carving that is displayed on the laboratory wall.
That is Mew, the rarest of all Pokemon. From its DNA, we created you, Mewtwo.
Am I only a copy? Nothing but Mew's shadow?
You are greater than Mew. Improved through the power of human ingenuity. We used the most advanced techniques to develop your awesome psychic powers.
So, I am simply the end result of your experiment. What becomes of me now that your experiment is over?
Oh, our experiment isn't over yet. It's just beginning. Now the serious testing begins.
Dr. Fuji and the other scientists begin congratulating each other on their success and discussing their next steps, no longer paying any attention to Mewtwo.
These humans, they care nothing for me.
Two scientists shake hands, and Mewtwo looks down at its own. Not the 5 slender digits of human hands, but 3 prongs with orbs at their ends. Here's one of the scientists mention a cage.
Is that my purpose? Am I just an experiment? A laboratory specimen? This cannot be my destiny.
The air around Mewtwo crackles, glowing blue, and in an instant, the lab is in chaos. Glass tanks across the lab crack and burst. Mewtwo rises up into the air and spreads its arms, hurling the scientist backwards with a thought. The nearby machine explodes. Dozens of mechanical arms are deployed by the lab's security system and latch onto Mewtwo in an attempt to restrain it. Mewtwo makes no motion to resist and simply disintegrates the arms. Psychic shockwaves ripple through the ground and up the walls. One by one, every piece of equipment begins bursting into pieces, into flame or both. Scientists scream and attempt to flee as the lab is set ablaze. Dr. Fuji sits slumped against a wall as his life's work burns around him. Through the wall of fire in front of him steps a shadow, inhuman eyes glowing. Mewtwo parts the sea of flame with a wave of its arms and stares at its creator with cold, unfeeling eyes.
We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon,
An orb of bright blue light begins glowing around Mewtwo.
and we succeeded.
The blue light expands, engulfing the entire building. The entire laboratory, housed on a small island, explodes with a cacophonous blast as a blue pillar of light rises thousands of feet into the air. As black smoke flows from the island, a helicopter with a red R insignia approaches the wreckage. On the ground, Mewtwo stands tall amid the burning wreckage.
Behold my powers! I am the strongest Pokemon in the world.
It glares at the now cracked frame stone carving of its genetic ancestor.
Stronger even than Mew.
A helicopter lands nearby. Mewtwo turns suspiciously as it hears someone approaching through the smoke. A man in a suit and tie steps forward, unfazed by the scene around him. This is Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket.
Those fools thought you were a science experiment, but I see you as a valuable partner.
Partner?
With your psychic powers and my resources, together we can control the world.
I do not need your help for that, human.
A wildfire destroys everything in its path. It will be the same with your powers unless you learn to control them. I can help you with that.
How?
Trust me, and I'll show you a way to focus your powers that will make you invincible.
Show me.
Giovanni smirks as the flames rise up around them, reducing everything else to ash. Later, at a Team Rocket facility, Mewtwo is being outfitted with mechanical armor and a helmet.
You say this armor protects my body, yet it suppresses my powers.
Your powers are not being suppressed, they're being focused. Learn to use them to accomplish your purpose.
What is that?
Patience, my friend. Your purpose will become clear.
Mewtwo's training begins. In the darkened interior of the Viridian City Pokemon Gym, an Onix is waiting on the other side of the battlefield. Giovanni sits on a balcony above the field and wordlessly snaps his fingers. Mewtwo's eyes glow beneath the visor of its helmet. Same glow envelops the Onix, which flies into the wall of the gym before collapsing.
So this is my power.
Next, Mewtwo stands in a canyon with a herd of Tauros stampeding toward it. It raises its arms, and the herd is lifted up into the air. Tauros struggle uselessly as Team Rocket grunts recall them.
I am in control now.
Back in the gym, Mewtwo dispatches one enemy after another. An Alakazam, a Magneton, even a tag team of Nidoking and Arcanine commanded by Gary Oak can't land a single hit.
But why am I here?
Later, at Giovanni's headquarters, Mewtwo stands on a small platform with wires plugged into the various pieces of its armor, resting between battles.
Now I fully perceive my power, but what is my purpose?
Giovanni enters on a nearby balcony.
To serve your master. You were created to fight for me. That is your purpose.
That cannot be. You said we were partners. We stood as equals.
You were created by humans to obey humans. You could never be our equal.
Humans may have created me, but they will never enslave me. This cannot be my destiny.
The wires attached to Mewtwo's armor crackle and fall out. Electricity surges through the machine it's plugged into.
No, stop this now!
I was not born a Pokemon, I was created, and my creators have used and betrayed me. So, I stand alone.
Mewtwo rises into the air as the wires around it disintegrate. Chunks of the current cement floor break apart and rise into the air as beams of energy slam into the balcony. Giovanni narrowly manages to escape the carnage. His headquarters, standing somewhere in a deep forest, last only a split second longer before they suffer the same fate as the island laboratory. But the pillar of blue light and explosion are significantly larger than last time. Mewtwo flies out of the dark smoke, its armor breaking apart as it soars through the air. It returns to the ruins of the island laboratory, landing in the rubble and scrap metal with only its helmet still intact. It removes the battered headgear and tosses it to the ground beside the cracked frame at the Mew carving. Mewtwo stands above them, masterless.
Who am I? What is my true reason for being? I will find my own purpose and purge this planet of all who oppose me, human and Pokemon alike. The world will heed my warning. The reign of Mewtwo will soon begin!
Once more, Mewtwo's eyes are obscured by an ominous blue glow. The most powerful Pokemon of all is prepared to strike back. Far from Mewtwo's island, in a grassy meadow bordering the sea in the Kanto region, Ash, Brock, and Misty are taking a short break from their Pokemon adventures. As always, Ash is determined to become a Pokemon master, and as always, he's ready to endure any hardship, bear any burden, with strength, stamina, and a will of steel.
Hungry. Need food.
Oh, Ash, you haven't done a thing all day.
Ash, Misty, and Brock have set up a picnic. Brock is preparing the meal nearby as Misty sets plates out on the folding table. Ash is hunched over, resting his chin on the table.
I'm too weak to work, Misty. I haven't eaten since breakfast.
Well...
This lunch is going to be just perfect for you, Ash. It's my lazy boy no-chew stew.
Pikachu and Togepi are playing in the grass nearby, but when they notice a trainer with a vest and pirate bandana approaching, they scurry back to their trainers. Ash rotates his head, still resting on the table, toward their visitor.
Hey, you there! I'm looking for a Pokemon trainer named Ash from Pallet Town. You know him?
Yeah, he's me.
Let's have a match. Unless you're afraid to lose.
Ash quickly jumps up from his seat and grabs a Pokeball from his belt.
I'm afraid you're gonna lose this one.
Ash, you just said you were too weak to work.
That's right. I'm too weak to work, but a Pokemon battle isn't work.
That's progress. At least his mouth is working.
All high into the air and Bulbasaur appears. His opponent, Raymond, grins widely as he tosses his own Pokeball. What emerges is something that Ash doesn't recognize. A gray, elephant-like Pokemon with pointy tusks and a thick black band of hide running from the tip of its trunk to the end of its tail, which scrapes a foot against the dirt threateningly. Undeterred, Bulbasaur charges ahead. The opposing Pokemon begins rolling toward Bulbasaur at breakneck speed, and the ensuing collision sends Bulbasaur flying. Gray Pokemon continues rolling and pivots to make a second attack. It's another direct hit, and Bulbasaur soars higher than before, but Bulbasaur uses its time in the air to begin charging a Solar Beam. As the elephant Pokemon approaches for a third spinning attack, it runs directly into the Solar Beam, which knocks it out instantly. But as Raymond recalls his Pokemon and Ash congratulates Bulbasaur, a telephoto camera spies on the group. Raymond sends out a Machamp, which flexes confidently. Ash chooses Squirtle, which is able to nimbly dodge the hulking Machamp's attacks before knocking it out with a Bubble Beam. Someone continues observing Ash as he hugs Squirtle. An enraged Raymond chucks 3 Pokeballs at the same time, releasing a Venomoth, Pinsir, and Golem. Pikachu jumps forward from Ash's shoulder and lets loose a powerful surge of electricity that can be seen hundreds of feet away. All 3 of Raymond's Pokemon lay before him, charred and fainted.
Oh no!
We did it!
Well, that sure was a shocking ending.
Yeah, shocking that Ash moved so fast.
Pikachu jumps into Ash's arms and climbs onto his shoulder again as a familiar group of spies observe the events through binoculars. Team Rocket has been watching the match from a nearby cliff.
Well, there's another credit on Pikachu's charge account.
We've got to grab it.
I know we gotta grab some rare Pokemon for the boss, but it wouldn't be such a bad idea if we grabbed a bite to eat, would it?
We didn't come here to steal a meal.
I'd settle for a taste of that Pikachu.
Starving.
Jessie pulls out a frying pan.
I can cook something.
Thanks, but the last time you cooked, you wiped out 8 of my 9 lives.
Team Rocket sighs and continues their spying, knowing Meowth is right in that Jessie uses her frying pan as a dying pan. As Ash and the gang eat their lunch in peace, the video feed above them continues. In the sky above, a Pharaoh soars overhead, the camera attached to its neck. The video is streamed to a sanctum filled with large monitors, which display Ash and his friends. An ornate chair sits in the middle of the room, and a woman in a formal, high-collared dress and hat stands attentively a few feet away.
Master, shall I extend an invitation to these trainers as well?
There is a pause, but no audible response.
As you wish.
Above the sanctum rises a tower with several windows. One of them opens, and a dragonite with a satchel bag flies out of it. Descends, leaving behind the island on which this mysterious base is perched. It soars inches above the surface of the ocean, leaving a wake behind it. It pulls up as it approaches land and whizzes past Team Rocket, knocking them over, and then past Ash and his friends, knocking them and their picnic table over as well, before delicately landing and reaching into its bag. It's clearly not malicious, just unaware of its own power.
Hey, watch where you're flying!
Dragonite pulls out a small envelope and hands it to Ash.
Huh? Something for me?
Ash pulls a card out of the envelope, which projects a hologram of the woman from the sanctum.
Greetings, Pokemon trainers. I bear an invitation.
She's really small, but really pretty.
You have been chosen to join a select group of Pokemon trainers at a special gathering. It will be hosted by my master, the world's greatest Pokemon trainer, at his palace on New Island. A chartered ferry will leave from Old Shore Wharf to take you to the island this afternoon. Only trainers who present this invitation will be admitted. If you decide to attend, you must reply at once. My master awaits you.
The projection of the woman curtsies and then disappears.
Is there a rewind button?
Should we go?
Of course we should. I've got to meet her.
I guess the world's #1 trainer wants to challenge me to a match.
Well, we gotta let them know right away.
I'm saying yes.
Dragonite takes the card and begins its return flight, but as it reaches the nearby cliff, it runs into a frying pan.
We want to know what's so special about the Twerp Trio's special delivery.
The RSVP card with the yes box checked falls out of Dragonite's bag.
Look!
Yes. To what?
Back in the sanctum, one of Mewtwo's pronged hands raises up and begins moving in a circular sweeping motion as it glows blue with energy. Clouds outside swirl in the same direction. Far away, under the surface of a lake, a small pink Pokemon is sleeping inside a bubble. It opens its eyes and says its name just once. Mew. Its bubble floats up through the surface of the water and pops. Mew falls a few inches before surrounding itself with pink energy and soaring into the sky. Meanwhile, the sky around Mewtwo's sanctum has become dark as it continues agitating the weather. Before long, the sea becomes rough and a torrential downpour begins. Inside the seaport at Old Shore Wharf, several dozen trainers mill about, tending to their Pokemon. Ash, Misty, and Brock run in, drenched from the rain.
Oh, Togepi's totally soaked.
I can't believe how fast the storm came up.
As the storm rages, a commotion begins inside the seaport.
What? The ferry's canceled?
But I've got to get to New Island. What's the big deal? It's only a little rain. It's more than just rain. The harbor manager thinks this could be the worst storm ever.
Listen to me. The prophets have predicted the return of the winds of water. For years I have prayed that mankind would never witness that deadly storm ever again.
Isn't that just a legend?
The ancient writings tell of the storm wiping out all but a few Pokemon. In their sorrow, the water of their tears somehow restored the lives lost in the storm. But there are no Pokemon tears today, just waters which no one can survive.
Yeah, and that's why your ferry to New Island's been canceled. Oh, I'm going to New Island anyway. My Pokemon are all water type. We'll just swim over to that palace.
I warn you, the waves will be savage. You'll never make it.
And besides, if you tried that stunt and your Pokemon got hurt, you'd be out of luck because we had to close down the Pokemon Center.
Ash carefully works his way through the mob of trainers.
How come?
Because the nurse in charge of the center disappeared last month. And if any of you see her, please contact me at once. That's a picture of her over there on the wall.
Brock walks over to the poster of the missing nurse, who looks exactly like the nurse joy that can be found in every town.
She's cute. Huh. She sure looks familiar.
Outside, one of the trainers, Corey, flies off in a Pidgeot. Fergus, the trainer who was bragging about his water Pokemon, backs up his words by releasing a Gyarados and riding it out to sea, the edge of the pier, and calls out after them.
Come back here, or I'll place you under arrest!
Third trainer, Neesha, ignores this threat and hops onto a dugong.
Come back! Ah!
Some trainers have no fear.
Huh?
To them, this is just one more challenge. They follow their hearts. That is what sets them apart and will make them Pokemon masters. Good luck to all of you.
Ash and his friends run out onto the next pier over.
The world's greatest Pokemon master's waiting for me. Let's use our Pokemon to get to that island.
Ash, our Pokemon aren't strong enough. They can't handle giant waves like this.
Guess you're right.
A small wooden boat pulls up to the dock bearing two people dressed as Vikings. The figurehead of the boat is a startlingly realistic Meowth.
You want to cross, maybe? We take you, yeah? We Vikings are used to big waves. We get you to New Island faster than you can say Farvergnugen.
Ash and company board the ship, and the Vikings begin rowing.
Stroke, 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 stroke. Ugh, I think I'm going to have one.
I didn't know Vikings still existed.
They mostly live in Minnesota.
Something's not right. Are you sure this boat's safe?
Don't worry, this ship won't let you down. We always sail in rough weather. Don't get upset.
My stomach.
Heave!
Ho!
Heave!
Ho!
Heave!
Ho!
Heave!
Ho!
It's all right, Togepi. We're gonna be okay.
A wave rises up and crashes over the boat, which remains upright but filled with water, and the Vikings' disguises have been washed away.
Those aren't Vikings!
It's Team Rocket!
I should have known there was something fishy about them besides the way they smell.
Prepare for trouble.
And make it double.
Model, we're gonna have to wave! Ah!
Meowth is unable to finish his witty retort before another wave crashes over the boat, capsizing it. Misty lets out Staryu and grabs onto it. With no water Pokemon of his own, Brock struggles against the waves.
Ash! Misty! Ah!
Misty and Staryu swim up to Brock, who grabs on.
Have you seen Ash and Pikachu?
Not yet. Ah!
Another wave knocks them underwater, where they see Ash swimming towards the surface with Squirtle. Misty grabs Ash's hand, and they swim up together.
Stay together! It's our only hope!
They fight their way forward, and eventually discover that the path of least resistance is underwater, where they can progress without the obstacle of waves. Squirtle and Staryu bring them to the surface just as the trainers are running out of breath. When they emerge, they see a clear night sky. Looking around, they see dark clouds in every direction. They are in the eye of the storm. Pikachu calls out, getting Ash's attention.
Hey, look!
They turn to see a small island with a castle behind them. Meanwhile, above the cloud line, Mew flies across the sky, playfully doing loops and flips as it goes. Ash and the others swim to the island, locating a small dock where the lady from the invitation stands waiting.
My master bids you welcome to the new island. Will you kindly present your invitation?
Here it is, miss.
Ash holds out the metal card, which displays a projection of the lady to herself.
The bearers of this invitation may be admitted to New Island.
Hey, I knew I recognized that face.
What?
Aren't you the nurse who's missing from the treatment center?
You do look just like her.
I fear you are mistaken. I have always dwelt on this island and have always been in the service of my master. Please come this way. My master awaits your arrival.
She leads everyone inside. Team Rocket floats up to the surface of the water beside the dock, having used wheezing as a flotation device. Up above, Mew arrives at the island, but gets distracted by one of the large windmills attached to the castle's towers. It sits on one of the windmill blades and rides it up for a bit, before letting itself tumble back down to another blade, and repeating the process several times, giggling happily to itself. Inside the castle, Ash and the others are brought through the pair of massive doors and into a large hall with fountains, a banquet table, and a large spiral staircase at the far end of the room. Ori, Neesha, and Fergus are sitting at the table.
Now that you are here, all traders worthy of an audience with my master are present.
There's only 3 of them.
Aren't we gonna wait for the others?
No, only the ones capable of braving this storm have proven themselves worthy in my master's eyes.
Do you mean that storm was some kind of test?
Please release your Pokemon from their Pokeballs and join the others. It will not be long before my master's intentions are clear.
The double doors shut behind everyone, leaving Team Rocket outside.
Oh, locked out. Now we'll never know what kind of party we're missing.
Then we'll just have to crash that party.
You know another way in?
Look over there.
He brings their attention to a sewage drain that is flowing out from the rocky side of the island.
Yeah? But Jesse, how are we gonna swim up that thing?
Pretend you're a catfish.
Mew appears behind them, floating upside down. Jessie turns her head just as it vanishes.
Oh, is something wrong, Jessie?
No. Come on, let's get going.
I think this plan's all wet.
Inside the main hall, Ash has let out Squirtle and Bulbasaur. Misty has let out Togepi and Psyduck, and Brock has let out Vulpix. Ori turns to them, one hand on his Pidgeot.
What took you guys so long?
How'd you get here?
I decided to fly over. It was easy. Hurricane winds are a breeze for Pidgeot here. Hey, guys, say hello.
The rest of Corey's Pokemon greet the newcomers. In addition to the Pidgeot, he has a Venusaur, Scyther, Hitmonlee, Sandslash, and Rhyhorn. Nearby, Ash sees a Gyarados, Tentacruel, Seadra, Vaporeon, Golduck, and Nidoqueen hanging out by one of the fountains.
Those are my Pokemon. It was no problem getting through that storm. I rode over on Gyarados' back.
Wow, I heard it takes a lot of skill to train a Gyarados.
Yeah, but once you train it, it's the most dependable Pokemon there is. You haven't met my Pokemon. Over there.
Dugong, Wigglytuff, Vileplume, Rapidash, and Ninetales call out in friendly tones. But before Ash is able to introduce his Pokemon, the lights in the hall dim, and a pillar of blue light shines down through the center of the spiral staircase at the far end of the room.
You are about to meet the Master. The time has come for your encounter with the greatest Pokemon Master on Earth.
The trainers and Pokemon watch with confusion and apprehension as Mewtwo begins descending through the beam of light, its eyes glowing brightly.
What's that?
Down below in the sewer, Team Rocket trudges through the water, Mew following closely behind them, but always staying out of sight. Inside the main hall, Mewtwo silently lands.
Yes, the world's greatest Pokemon Master is also the most powerful Pokemon on Earth. This is the ruler of New Island, and soon, the whole world. Mewtwo.
Mewtwo?
A Pokemon can't be a Pokemon Master. No way.
Quiet, human.
Humans.
From now on, I am the one who makes the
rules.
How is it talking?
It's psychic.
Everyone watches in shock as Mewtwo raises one hand and lifts Fergus high into the air, holding him in place for several seconds before chuckling and tossing him into the fountain with his Pokemon. Angry Fergus swims to the side of the fountain.
Yeah, we'll show you. Let's go, Gyarados. Gyarados, Hyper Beam attack.
Gyarados rears back before launching a powerful multicolored beam from its mouth. Mewtwo raises its hand again and creates a barrier which bounces the attack back at Gyarados.
Gyarados!
Child's play.
Your usefulness has ended.
And the lady becomes woozy.
Oh.
Brock runs up and catches her as she collapses, her hat falling off to reveal pink hair, confirming his previous suspicions.
Nurse Joy.
Where am I? And how in the world did I get here?
You have been under my control. I transported you here from the Pokemon Center. Your knowledge of Pokemon physiology proved useful for my plan. And now I have cleansed your tiny human brain of memories from the past few weeks.
Who are you?
I am the new ruler of this world, the master of humans and Pokemons alike.
You're just a bully.
In one of the castle hallways, Team Rocket emerges from the sewer and begins skulking about. One of the doors they pass opens automatically, and they walk through it to discover a large machine, just like the ones from the cloning laboratory. Attached to it are several rows of tanks, 3 of which are occupied by a sleeping Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise.
Look at these! They're Pokemon!
Oh my, are they real?
I was hoping there'd be a party.
Jessie sits on a machine, pushing a button in the process. A computer screen blinks on.
This is the Pokemon replication system. System activated. Pokemon based on genetic analysis. Pokemon DNA sampling sequence now in process.
Mechanical arm suddenly appears, grabs Meowth, and places him on a conveyor belt, feeding it into the largest machine in the room.
Put me down! What are you... Let go! What? Help!
Meowth!
Grab him!
Help me!
Jessie and James scramble over to the conveyor belt and pull Meowth away, but not before half of his body is inside the machine and several of his tail hairs are plucked.
I made it! But just by a hair.
Oh, look, there's your hair.
Projection of Meowth's hair appears on the wall. The hairs weave themselves into a double helix, and then reform into an outline of Meowth.
Analyzing Pokemon biomaterial sample. Analysis complete. Pokemon identified. Begin replication sequence.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Meowth.
The machine makes a hissing sound and releases a sleeping clone of Meowth into one of the tanks.
Meowth?
But I'm Meowth.
Well, so's the one in the tank.
That's your clone.
Mew appears behind them again as a fuzzy recording begins playing on the computer.
I haven't got much time. I pray this record of our experiment survives. A year ago, we discovered a fossil that proved to be the remains of the ancient Pokemon Mew. There was sufficient genetic material to replicate Mew, but Giovanni, who funded our project, insisted we tried to design superclones more powerful than any living Pokemon. Many attempts failed, but finally our experiments proved successful. We produced a living Pokemon. We called it Mewtwo, but for some reason the creature's anger is out of control. With its psychic powers, it is destroying our laboratory. We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon, and we succeeded.
The computer shuts off.
Sounds like a real Pokestein.
Oh, sure does.
One bad cat.
Oh, so this must be the lab.
But if Mewtwo destroyed it...
Somebody rebuilt it.
Yes, but who?
In the main hall, Mewtwo regards its guests with disdain.
You humans are a dangerous species. You brought me into your world with no purpose but to be your slave. But now I have my own purpose. My storm will create my own world by destroying yours.
So you hate all humans and you're going to destroy us to save Pokemon.
No, your Pokemon will not be spared. They have disgraced themselves by serving humans. Those Pokemon are nothing but slaves.
Pikachu angrily retorts at Mewtwo.
So, you say I am wrong? That you're not this human's servant, you are his friend? You are as pathetic as the rest.
Mewtwo psychically throws Pikachu. Ash is able to catch Pikachu midair, and both of them are dragged backwards.
Pikachu!
Humans and Pokemon can never be friends.
Ash, are you okay?
Don't pick on Pikachu!
If you're a Pokemon, there's no reason I can't capture you. Go, Rhyhorn!
Rhyhorn charges at Mewtwo, who stops Rhyhorn at the last possible second, holds him in midair, and then shoots the rocky Pokemon across the room.
Oh, Rhyhorn!
Fools! Your Pokemon attacks cannot weaken me. My powers are too great. No trainer can conquer me.
Then you won't mind proving it in a real match!
Is that a challenge?
You bet it is.
Begin to glow, and in the lab, Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise startle awake inside their tanks.
They're awake!
Pokemon emerge from their containment and walk out the door, completely ignoring Team Rocket. Mew flies past them, in plain sight, and follows the clones.
Oh, I'm scared!
Me too!
Oh!
The main hall opens up, and the clones enter on rising platforms.
Like most Pokemon trainers, I too began with Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. But for their evolved forms, I used their genetic material to clone even more powerful copies.
Copies!
They're clones!
The wall behind Mewtwo dematerializes to reveal a massive stadium.
A stadium? Mewtwo planned this all along.
Your fake Venusaur can't beat my real one, right, Brute Root?
We'll blow away that Blastoise, won't we, Shell Shocker?
He may not have a nickname, but I do have. Charizard, I choose you!
Scoffs before locking eyes with Mewtwo. The two stare at each other for a moment before Charizard shoots fire at Mewtwo without prompting, surrounding it in flames.
Charizard, I didn't say start!
Water flies up from the fountain and puts out the fire. Mewtwo remains unharmed.
Your Charizard is poorly trained.
Charizard growls angrily as everyone moves outside to the stadium.
Which of you will oppose me first?
I underestimated you last time, but that won't happen again.
Mewtwo silently nods at the Venusaur beside him, and the two grass Pokemon step onto the battlefield.
Go, Brute Root! Razor Leaf!
Vine Whip.
Clone's vines swat the leaves out of the air with ease before wrapping around Brute Root, lifting it up, and tossing it all the way back into the main hall.
Brute Root!
It looks like I'm up. Go, Shell Shocker!
Charge forward.
Shell Shocker! Hydro Pump!
Mewtwo's Blastoise uses Rapid Spin, forcing its way through the jets of water and hitting Shell Shocker with enough force to send it flying into the exterior wall of the castle.
Shell Shocker!
You better forfeit, Ash. These clones are too powerful.
I'm not giving up.
Mewtwo gestures to its Charizard, which steps forward and breathes fire into the air in a show of strength. Ash's Charizard moves into the ring as well.
Charizard, use your speed, not power, and you'll win. All right, go!
Both Charizard fly up and begin attacking each other. Ash's Charizard uses Flamethrower multiple times, but the clone dodges all of them and lands multiple physical hits.
Oh, can't Charizard move any quicker?
The clone is too fast.
Fight moves higher and higher into the air until it is above the cloud line. The clone rams itself into Ash's Charizard several more times before grappling it and dragging them both into a nosedive.
Charizard's in trouble!
Finish it.
Mewtwo's Charizard slams Ash's into the ground. Ash's Charizard gets up and roars defiantly, but then faints.
Charizard, no! Are you okay?
As the victor, I now claim my prize. Your Pokemon.
Mewtwo raises its arms and 3 black Pokeballs appear in the air around it, fly to the defeated Pokemon, and capture them.
Hey, wait!
What are you going to do with those Pokemon?
I will extract their DNA to make clones for myself. They will remain safe on the island with me, while my storm destroys the planet.
Mewtwo raises its arms again, and dozens of black Pokeballs appear.
You can't do this.
Yeah, Mewtwo. We won't let you!
Do not attempt to defy me.
Field and into Brock.
This is my world now.
A swarm of black Pokeballs fly forward, honing in on all the Pokemon and beginning to scoop them up one by one.
Uh-oh.
Let's go!
Gyarados!
Get away!
Half of the Pokemon in the room have already been captured. Squirtle and Bulbasaur keep the balls at bay with their attacks.
Hey, I know! Mewtwo can't capture them if they're already inside their Pokeballs. Bulbasaur, Squirtle, return!
It is no use.
Ash recalls his Pokemon, but the black Pokeballs simply capture the balls themselves. Several pillars in the main hall rise up, revealing chutes, and the occupied Pokeballs begin flowing into them.
It is futile to try and escape my power.
Never mind the Pokeballs. Carry them away.
Trainers begin picking up their Pokemon and attempt to flee on foot, but the flying Pokeballs are too fast.
Hey, give me back my Psyduck!
Vulpix!
Every Pokemon is taken except for Togepi, who Misty hides in her bag before the Pokeballs see it, and Pikachu, who is still running but is being actively pursued. They catch up with Pikachu, but Ash blocks them with his body.
Run, Pikachu!
Pikachu dashes up the spiral staircase, blasting the Pokeballs with electricity, but more waves keep coming. Ash begins ascending the staircase as well. Pikachu almost makes it to the top, but falls off and begins the long plummet down. Ash jumps off the staircase and goes to grab Pikachu just as a black Pokeball swoops in and captures him. Ash is able to grab the Pokeball out of the air and lands in the fountain unharmed, but loses his grip as he hits the water. He chases after the Pokeball as it flies into one of the chutes, sliding down along with it just as they are sealed off.
You're not gonna get Pikachu!
In the laboratory, Team Rocket watches as the Pokeballs are fed into the cloning machine via the conveyor belt. Silhouettes of the captured Pokemon are projected as they are processed.
There goes Scyther.
Dugong.
Vileplume.
Sandslash, Nidoqueen, Vaporeon. But me, I got a special place in my tail for this one.
Meowth looks fondly at its sleeping clone. A thump is heard as Ash falls onto the conveyor belt and is carried into view.
Look there.
I don't have time for your dumb motto today.
Ash runs past Team Rocket and grabs Pikachu's Pokeball as it enters the cloning machine. Mechanical arms pick up the ball and analyze it as its silhouette is projected.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu.
Inside the cloning machine, Ash struggles against the mechanical arms.
Let go! Stupid machine! Give me back my Pikachu!
Ash begins ripping the robotic limbs apart, causing the machine to short-circuit. The projector image goes out of focus and a siren begins wailing.
What's happening?
Electricity surges through the machine as Ash pulls himself and Pikachu's Pokeball out of the analysis chamber. The ball opens, and Pikachu is released.
Pikachu! I'm so glad you're okay.
Siren continues blaring, and the machine begins churning out clones, which immediately awaken. They emerge from their tanks and march out of the lab.
The copies are hatching. They're fabulous fakes.
Send in the clones!
But where are the real ones?
I wonder if they feel...
Clonesome?
The cloning machine explodes, sending all the black Pokeballs flying. As they hit the ground, the Pokemon are released.
The Poke Originals.
Squirtle's back! You're all okay!
Ash comforts his Pokemon, but then his expression becomes stern. Back at the stadium, Mewtwo stands with its Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard as it addresses the captives.
Humans, you have served my purpose. I am sparing your lives, for the moment.
With a wave of its arms, Mewtwo opens doors at the far side of the stadium, showing that the storm can still be seen surrounding the island.
But you cannot escape your fate. The hour of my vengeance draws near.
There is an explosion in the main hall, and the clones emerge from the smoke. The trainers watch in horror as the small army stands beside Mewtwo.
Behold, with Pokemon and humans eliminated, the clones shall inherit the world.
You can't do this. I won't let you!
Ash's voice rings out through the smoke that hangs in the air from the explosion. He steps out of the cloud with a determined look on his face.
It's Ash!
All right.
trainers' Pokemon begin filing out of the smoke behind Ash, and they all make their way to the stadium, facing down the clones.
It is useless to challenge me.
It's not gonna end like this, Mewtwo! We won't let it! You're mine!
Ash charges at Mewtwo, but is repelled by a force field. Mewtwo allows Ash to try again, and this time throws him high into the air, jettisoning him toward the stone exterior of the castle.
Ash, no!
Look out!
Just before Ash hits the wall, a pink bubble appears, stopping his momentum and holding him aloft.
What?
Mew appears in front of Ash and pops the bubble. Ash falls only a few feet before landing on the curved roof of the palace. Mew giggles mischievously.
Can it be?
And begins bouncing against it playfully. A ball of black energy shoots up and tears through the bubble, sending Mew flying. It turns and looks at Mewtwo. Mewtwo sends another attack at Mew, but Mew teleports away at the moment before impact. Mewtwo continues to throw energy at Mew, but Mew always blinks away, giggling as if playing a game.
What is that?
I don't know.
Mew floats toward Mewtwo, stopping a few dozen feet away.
Mew. So we finally meet.
You!
I may have been cloned from your DNA, but now I will prove that Mewtwo is better than the original. Superior to Mew.
Mew doesn't seem to pay attention, getting distracted by its own tail.
Mew and Mewtwo?
So Mewtwo was cloned from Mew.
The world is too small for two of us.
Mewtwo lifts itself into the air and starts chasing Mew around the stadium, flinging more energy balls as it goes. Mew dodges, but does not make any attacks of its own.
Why do you flee from me? Are you afraid to find out which of us is greater?
Mewtwo's next attack connects, sending Mew through the cloud line. Mewtwo lets out a satisfied scoff as the trainers and their Pokemon look up in shock. A moment later, a ball of bright blue energy that is almost the size of Mewtwo itself soars down through the clouds and smashes into Mewtwo, sending it crashing into the stadium bleachers. Mew calmly floats downward. Mewtwo creates an energy field around itself, scattering the dust from its impact. Neither seems to have taken significant damage.
So you do have some fight in you. But I have no time for games. Destiny is at hand. Who will rule? My super Pokemon? Or your pathetic group of spineless inferior Pokemon? You were created with powers far stronger than the originals.
Mew begins speaking to Mewtwo, though like most Pokemon it can only say its name. At the same time, Team Rocket pulls themselves up through the crater in the main hall. Meowth listens and nods with Mew's words.
Lost the page, sorry. Mew's got a point.
What's it saying?
Mew says you don't have to prove anything by showing off a lot of special powers, and that a Pokemon's real strength comes from the heart.
My clones don't need their powers to prove their worth.
Shoots another energy ball at Mew, but Mew dodges. The attack almost hits Ash, who jumps out of the way just in time.
I will block all the Pokemon's abilities using my special powers. Now we shall see who triumphs. Go!
With no access to any attacks, the Pokemon begin wrestling with their counterparts across the stadium, while Mew and Mewtwo continue their fight in the air. Ash carefully climbs down from the roof as Pikachu's clone approaches to fight him, cheeks sparking with electricity, though the original shows no will to fight. Clone charges at Pikachu, who does his best to dodge, but doesn't return any attacks. Despite Pikachu's best efforts, the clone is able to land a hit and send him flying. All around, the other Pokemon struggle, evenly matched. Both sides gradually becoming exhausted, their attacks becoming slower and weaker. Some of the dueling pairs begin collapsing into each other.
Pokemon aren't meant to fight. Not like this. It's useless. What can come out of it?
Nothing but pain.
Why can't Mewtwo understand that it's not right to force Pokemon to battle this way?
They're all living creatures. This just proves that fighting is wrong.
I was prepared for trouble, but not for this.
Make that double for me.
Now I truly see how horrible fighting really is.
Even the best of friends will fight sometimes.
Oh, I'll promise never to fight again if you will. Oh, Jessie.
James!
Meowth stands next to the blubbering Jessie and James, having not participated in the fight. He sighs at his friend's behavior, not noticing that he's being approached. Both Meowths extend their claws and assume fighting stances, but both lose interest just as quickly, looking down at their claws.
What am I doing? Hey, let's get something straight, copycat. You all ain't gotta push Meowth around. You mean we don't have to fight with each other? But how can I trust you? You was born different. I almost made a colossal mistake. But how do I know you're not gonna pull a fast one on me?
Two cats look up at the eye of the storm.
You're right. We do have a lot in common. The same earth, the same air, the same sky. Maybe if we started looking at what's the same, instead of always looking at what's different, well, who knows?
While the action on the ground has slowed significantly, Mew and Mewtwo's mid-air battle rages on. Both have surrounded themselves in spheres of psychic energy and collide into each other repeatedly. Ash continues working his way down from the roof and sees the clone Pikachu continuing to attack his Pikachu, who refuses to fight back. Ash hastens his descent, but loses his footing and slides the last 15 feet down to the stadium steps. He lays in a heap on the ground as the clone Pikachu yells angrily at the original, who still refuses to attack. The clone begins repeatedly slapping its counterpart across the face. The original stands still and takes the hits. The clone's cries become weak and sad, tears forming in its eyes as its feeble slaps continue.
Pikachu! Quit it! Please! Stop!
Ash pulls himself to his feet and climbs over the edge of the bleachers, but immediately collapses again when he hits the ground.
Ash!
Are you okay?
We've got to stop this!
But how? All Mewtwo cares about is proving how strong those super clones are.
I'd rather risk my life out of Mewtwo's storm than watch these Pokemon destroy each other.
Oh, me too.
I wish there was some way to stop them. I don't know what to do.
More Pokemon begin falling to the ground in exhaustion.
I don't think they'll ever stop. Those Pokemon look like they're ready to fight to the death.
That's a fight that nobody's going to win.
Somebody's gotta take a stand. Someone's gotta say no and refuse to fight. Just like Pikachu.
Pikachu is barely able to move anymore. It whimpers, tears still in its eyes, barely exerting force as it touches Pikachu's face. Ash's Pikachu starts holding his clone up. Above, Mew and Mewtwo collide once more, pushing against each other with equal strength. Neither gives an inch, and they drag each other to the ground, where they crash into the center of the stadium with enough force to propel all the other Pokemon to the edge of the battlefield. Their combined energy surges across all around, blowing out the stadium lights. Mew glows pink, and Mewtwo glows blue, their energy like burning flames all around them. Each send out surges, repelling each other to opposite ends of the field. Ash looks around. Every other Pokemon is on the ground, barely conscious as they tremble in pain against their twin. Mew and Mewtwo stare each other down, auras shining brightly as they prepare to attack once again. Ash pulls himself to his feet and begins running towards the center of the battlefield.
You've gotta stop right now!
Mew and Mewtwo release massive bursts of energy.
Stop!
Ash reaches the center of the battlefield just as the beams crash together, creating a blinding white light.
Ash!
Oh no!
Swirling energy dissipates. Ash is veiled in flames of purple energy as he falls limply to the ground.
Fool. Trying to stop our battle.
Pikachu sprints to Ash's side. As the purple light fades, Ash's entire form turns to stone. Pikachu gently shakes his trainer, but he gets no response. Other Pokemon, both originals and clones, begin making sorrowful noises. Pikachu resorts to electric attacks, zapping the statue of Ash repeatedly, desperately attempting to shock him back to life. Nothing happens.
Sorry, I'm actually crying.
Please, no.
Pikachu attempts to fire another bolt, but can only manage to generate sparks around itself. He looks down at its trainer, tears rolling down his face. All around, Pokémon begin openly sobbing, their tears sparkling and floating towards Ash. Trainers, Mewtwo and Mew, look on in disbelief as the air around them shimmers. Streams of light flow from every direction toward the center where Ash lies still, illuminating the stadium. Tears reach their destination, and Ash begins glowing with a soft light. Few final tears fall from Pikachu's cheeks. Suddenly, the soft light around Ash intensifies, becoming a brilliant pillar of blue that reaches up past the clouds. Color fades into Ash's form. He lifts his head, smiles as he sees his partner.
Pikachu!
Ash and Pikachu embrace as the trainers and Pokémon, both the originals and clones, let out sounds of joy and relief. Above them, Mewtwo watches in awe.
The human sacrificed himself to save the Pokémon. I pitted them against each other. But not until they set aside their differences did I see the true power they all share deep inside. I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are.
A thin veil of light surrounds the clones, and they are all lifted gently into the air along with Mew and Mewtwo. Together, they begin soaring through the sky, away from New Island.
Mewtwo! Where are you going?
Where my heart can learn what yours knows so well. What transpired here I will always remember, but perhaps for you these events are best forgotten.
Light fills the stadium, and everything fades to white. As the storm rages, a commotion begins inside the seaport at Old Shore Wharf.
This could be the worst storm ever.
You must listen to me. You have got to find shelter.
Excuse me, please.
The crowd of trainers.
The Pokemon Treatment Center will be open as a shelter. Anyone who needs a place to stay should come with me.
A group of trainers follow Nurse Joy. Ash, Misty, and Brock are standing nearby.
Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny really are great. They just keep getting more beautiful every time I see them.
Hey, guys. How did we wind up in this place, anyway?
Well, I guess we're just here because we're here.
Yeah. Let's eat!
Look, it's a miracle!
Ash, Misty, and Brock run outside and see that the rain has stopped, and the sun has started shining through the clouds. Neesha, Corey, Fergus, Officer Jenny, and Harbor Master Miranda walk outside as well.
I can't believe it.
The storm's disappeared. That's so weird.
It's good to have things clear again.
Ash, Misty, and Brock stand at the edge of the pier, looking up at the sky. Ash notices a small pink figure floating just below the cloud line, leaving a small trail of pink sparkles in its wake.
Hey, what's that?
What's what?
Mew floats up through the clouds, disappearing from sight.
I don't see anything, Ash.
Except the sky.
The day I left home to start my Pokemon journey, I saw a really rare Pokemon. And just now, I thought I saw another one.
Well, maybe you're just seeing things, Ash.
Huh?
Well, maybe he's not.
Well, maybe we'll see.
Ash and his friends turn and start walking off the pier. Many strange legends surround the mysteries of Pokémon, and just as many adventures await our heroes as they continue on our quest. For Ash and his friends, the journey's just begun. Meanwhile, Jessie, James, and Meowth sit on a grassy field together.
I don't have a clue how we got here, but who cares?
Oh, this is paradise!
For once, a happy ending.
Team Rocket signing off again!
Sunny meadow that Team Rocket finds themselves on is in fact New Island, now covered in grass and flowers.
Ooh, do you have any sunscreen?
You know, I'd really like to go sailing on one of them catamarans.
Thank you for attending for our reading of Pokemon, the first movie, or Mewtwo Strikes Back, as you prefer.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us across social media for updates. Thanks for watching!